Selling products is all about grabbing people's attention and hopefully getting their money. That means that companies have to put a lot of thought into their advertising to make sure that it appeals to others.
Quiet! Hush your mouth. I told y'all mother, y'all can't stop me now.
So when we see old ads that seem rather offensive, they were simply just reflecting outdated societal views. Stay tuned to see an old poster that we can't believe was once used as an advertisement. Before we get started, take a moment to subscribe to The Richest and give this video a big thumbs up. Now let's get going with 10 old ads that wouldn't fly today. The best things in life. Remember cellophane? It was invented by a Swiss chemist named Jacques E. Brandenburger. In 1923, DuPont acquired the U.S. patent rights for cellophane and built the first American manufacturing plant just a year later. From the 1930s all the way to the mid-1980s, DuPont sold cellophane and did all of the advertising for it. But DuPont's idea of advertising cellophane was to wrap up babies and children in it to show how great the product was. Considering that we now have plenty of warning labels to keep small children out of plastic bags, these ads would certainly not be published today. Free for chubbies. Let's take a moment to consider how far we've come in the world of plus-size fashion. But back in the mid-20th century, being overweight was not only frowned upon, it was almost shameful. In this Lane Bryant ad, they were offering free catalogs for chubbies. Yet, if you look at the ad closely, the chubby girl in the drawing isn't even that big. And we all know that sizing back then was much smaller than it is now. It kind of makes you wonder exactly how skinny people were back in the day, but it's the free for chubby slogan that really takes the cake. Oh, and the fact that Lane Bryant still exists today as a major chain for plus-size clothing. Innocence. This next ad is so offensive that we're shocked that it wasn't shut down instantly at this company's marketing session for it. The ad was created for Love's Baby Soft. This was a fragrance that was marketed to preteen girls who are all at that awkward age where they're stuck between being a child and a full-on teenager. The company was started in 1974 and their advertising campaign was nothing short of shady. Considering that making a young girl look older and sexy is a guaranteed way to look like a creeper, we have to wonder what they were thinking with this one. The more you play. This is the type of ad that you know had the execs sniggering when they created it. Sega made a pretty bold move when they released this one, but given that they were marketing to a very specific group of people, they knew that their younger clientele appreciated this kind of humor. The more you play, the harder it gets definitely did its job at selling Sega products. There were even ads about how you wouldn't go blind from playing the Sega Game Gear too much. They definitely knew what they were doing, but if they tried to pull that kind of stuff today, there would be a lot of backlash. Ovaltine. It seems that if you wanted to wake up gay back in the day, all you needed to do was drink a glass of Ovaltine. Well, if you wanted to wake up happy in the morning, that's what you would have done. But times have changed and words don't mean the same thing now that they did back then. This ad would likely not fly today, not because it was necessarily offensive, but the words just don't have the same meaning that they used to. Colored pencils. Kids love colored pencils. There's so much competition between companies to create the best pencils out there. But since this product is marketed towards children, the advertising has to be kid-friendly with lots of colors and cartoon characters. Honestly, we're not sure what the creators behind this ad were thinking. Frito Bandito was a mascot for the Fritos company, and they somehow thought that making a Mexican caricature out of him would be acceptable. If you look at the commercials featuring Frito Bandito, you can tell that the company had to move away from cultural stereotyping if they wanted to survive. Keep her where she belongs. We're at a complete loss of words over this next ad. Believe it or not, the ad is for a pair of men's slacks. Apparently because he looked so good in his slacks, the woman was literally willing to turn into a floor rug to let him walk all over her. Given that we're living in a world where women have equality and are taking a strong stand against injustices caused by men, this is an ad that has no place in today's society. Even back in its time when it first came out, this ad must have provoked quite a reaction. Doctors do what? In today's day and age, we know that nicotine and tobacco aren't good for you, but what many don't realize is that smoking was once a very accepted practice. It was even encouraged by doctors for the longest time. So you can imagine the disdain that patients felt decades later when they were diagnosed with lung-related issues that were caused by smoking. This Camel ad is not only misleading, but it has the support of the medical community. Can you imagine the damage that this ad probably caused? Start earlier. We all know that soda is a beverage that kids shouldn't drink. Well, most kids drink the soda anyway, but soda companies don't necessarily encourage it. But that wasn't always the case. There is a line of vintage 7-Up ads that encourage mothers to give their babies 7-Up. Giving kids a sugary soda crosses a line, but giving it to babies is a definite no-no. The company was promoting the soda as something healthy that mothers could feel good about giving to their baby. Minstrel show. This ad is the perfect example of how far we've come as a society. It's an ad for performer Billy B. Van, who lived between 1878 and 1950. He was a well-known blackface performer and was a hit in the vaudeville circuit. Van had even tried his hand at silent films, but that never worked out for him. Today, this ad is a good example of what racism was like in America not too long ago. Sadly, this ad was viewed as acceptable well into the 20th century. Luckily, if it were to come out today, it would be shot down immediately. Blackface is just never acceptable. That's all for 10 old ads that wouldn't fly today. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching.